Hello there coaches, my name is Toby from the Gymnastics Academy and today I've partnered up with Gym Club Solutions to show you guys how you can teach your gymnasts a kip up. First of all, I'm going to show you guys a few different exercises you can get your gymnasts to do to help teach them the kip up action, and then after that we're going to try and apply it to the full kip up. First of all, you're going to get your gymnasts to sit on the floor just like this in a pike shape. From here we're going to keep our arms down by our sides for now. We're going to roll back into a manna position, and then from here we're going to lift up to a candle stand. This action is going to teach them how to roll back and set their feet, and then as we're lifting our hips up nice and high, that's going to help give us the pop we need in that kip up. So go through this exercise a few different times with them, and afterwards we'll develop onto the next stage. Now that we've taught the gymnasts how to shoot their legs and hips up to the sky, we'll then need to teach them how to fly away with their hands. So for this, we're going to use a bridge press up as the exercise. First of all, get your gymnasts to go down into a bridge, whether it's from here and back or from a back bend, doesn't particularly matter. From this position, they're going to bend their arms until their head is nice and close to the block. They're then going to imagine pushing up super tall, armpits up to the sky, hips up very tall, pushing into the block, using your shoulders. After they understand how to do the bridge press up, you can then apply a throw to it, which is going to replicate the final part of your kip up. So exactly the same thing as before, bending your arms all the way down, pushing the armpit super tall to the ceiling. However, as you get to the top of that rep now, you're going to throw the floor away, do a big push, and try and stand up super tall, just like you would in a walkover or a handspring. Now that your gymnast understands how to use their lower body and their upper body in the kip up, we're now going to attempt to kip up on the floor. However, rather than trying to stand up fully, we're just going to push into a nice tall bridge. With this exercise, the main things we're looking for the gymnast to do is to push their hips up super tall up to the sky, whilst they're pushing off their hands at the same time and landing in a bridge that is super tall already, rather than hitting the floor and then pushing up. Now that your gymnasts understand how to do a kip up into a bridge, it's now time to start doing the kip up, but with a throw added in there. When I teach gymnasts how to do a kip up, I like to start off by doing it off of something quite high first of all. Now, you have two options with this one. You can either do it on a flat surface that is raised up, or you can add a couple of blocks underneath and add a slight incline into the slope. For me personally, I like to add this incline in there to start with, just so it helps to encourage the forwards motion and the big push off. However, you might find that the gymnasts find it more difficult to fold and get into that piked position. So, main key things we're thinking about when doing this prep is to think about folding back as much as we can, lifting our feet and our hips as high to the ceiling as possible, and then as we start to feel we're pushing off our hands, near the end of that range of motion, we're gonna throw right away, sit our chest up super tall, and try and land looking forward for me. If your gymnasts can then successfully perform 3 out of 3 or 5 out of 5 if you want to be extra sure reps without sitting down the block, you can then start to get lower and lower and lower until eventually they do it on the floor. Now, the amount of time that each gymnast is going to have to spend on different stages is going to vary between all of them. However, don't be in a rush. Make sure your gymnast can do each stage consistently, 3 out of 3, 5 out of 5, before they move on to the next stage, and that is going to give them the best chance possible to get a consistently good kip up and actually give them the best chance to be landing it on the floor when they take it there. So now, let's get a couple of reps in. So, now that we're on the floor, there's a few different things we need to consider. Because we're not on top of the block now, we haven't got as much time to get the kip up done. So we need to make sure that through each stage, we're doing 100% effort. Pushing all the way through our arms, maximum range of motion, pushing our chest and armpits to the ceiling, and also shooting our feet and our hips up to the sky, and then driving our heels to the floor as we throw. So we're not staying low, we're trying to come up and over before springing off of those hands. Now that I've shown you a few good ones on the floor, I'm now going to show you what it's like when we don't quite go to that full range of motion with the arms and we don't quite lift the hips all the way up tall. So as you saw from those examples, if I don't quite push off my arms fully, I don't spring my heels all the way out, I end up landing my feet in front of me and my chest back, forcing me to land on my bum. So what you need to think about doing instead is getting your gymnasts to push as tall as they possibly can, pushing through their fingertips and getting their feet and hips as high to the ceiling as possible before they spring, and that'll give them the best chance possible of getting that full stand up, and you should have yourself a lovely kip up. That has been how you can teach your gymnast to kip up. I hope all of you coaches have found this information extremely valuable. If you have any further questions on it, feel free to leave a comment down below.